Jamie, my friend, good morning from the UK. How are we?
Very well, sir. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm very well. Appreciate you jumping on this morning and yeah, spending your time going through a few questions in terms of, and I'll be honest, in terms of the intentions for today. It's just an opportunity for me to ask you a handful of questions and talk about your experience of being in the program so far. Um, but before we get into that, why don't you kind of, let everybody know who it is you are and what it is you do?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Jamie. I have been in kind of coaching consulting for the last, I don't know, 3, 4 years and have done a load of different things, which was one of the reasons that I came to Sean in the first place, but I'm sure we'll get into that. But anything from like health consulting, AI consulting, marketing consulting. I've also had kind of agency offers. I've sold products. I've done a lot of just kind of online entrepreneurial ventures. And yeah, it was through kind of exploring the online world, came across Jeremy's program, who obviously you know, Sean, and I saw you on his client testimonials. And then we ended up talking. We spoke for, what was it, nearly 9 months or something,
Something like that.
something ridiculous. And yeah, what really stood out to me was that you just kind of never gave up on me in terms of just touching base, checking in, and not in a kind of sleazy, salesy kind of way, just more in a "How you doing, mate? You know, you told me this last time. How's that been going?" And that was it. And from there, obviously, joined the program, and here we are.
Here we are indeed. Here we are indeed. And yeah, we can get into the nitty gritty and yeah, some wonderful results that you've had during your time inside the program. But yeah, take me back to prior to joining the program then. Obviously, you just kind of touched on a couple of bits and pieces there, but what would you say was the biggest challenge or the biggest frustration before joining the program?
Yeah, so I would say by far my biggest kind of challenge and frustration was time and time again, I would pursue a different business venture. I would get it going. I would make money. It would start to be kind of profitable and go well. And then I would, for some reason or another, switch direction. That coupled with some unfortunate crypto related errors meant that I was kind of at the worst financial position that I'd been at in 5 or 6 years. To the point where, and I don't mind saying this, that my investment with Sean emptied my bank account. And that was quite literally at £0 in my bank account. And it was really a Hail Mary, to be honest, to get me out of that situation. And yeah, it worked. So here we are.
Yeah, it's always very interesting when I work with somebody like yourself who it has to work for because I feel obligated. I feel a sense of responsibility. Like someone's decided to do the program and they have literally wiped out their bank account to do it. And I have a lot of respect for you and everybody else who kind of does that. But it tells me a lot kind of about their character because you'll know yourself. You just mentioned then you'd start one business venture, it'd be profitable, and you'd move to another business venture. It's self-sabotage, which is exactly why we had a conversation. But I think, and I say this often, and I don't think I'll ever stop saying it, but self-sabotage is like a toothache. The longer you leave it, the worse it gets, the worse it gets, the worse the outcome. And that's exactly what happened for you in that scenario. You had to wait until it was really fucking terrible to pull the trigger, which I'm glad you did eventually, because of course we can get into the results that you got pretty quickly inside the program. But yeah, it's a real shame. And I'm not saying this, I'm being very sincere when I say this. It's a shame to see people like yourself and other people kind of let it get to that stage. You can hear the tonality in my voice has changed because I know what it's like. I know exactly what it's like because I see it time and time again. And maybe, I'll just be very transparent and based on kind of the results that you got inside of the program, which we're going to touch on very shortly. But now that you realize kind of the results that you got, I have to ask the question, do you wish you would have joined sooner?
Um, I guess it's a yes and no because if I had joined sooner, I might not have had the amount of pressure that I did have in order to absolutely make it work. Takes serious action and close pretty much everybody at a sales call with I closed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think had I joined sooner, maybe I didn't wouldn't have taken it as seriously. Maybe I
Yeah.
wouldn't have, as tunnel vision into like let's 100% make this work.
Mm-hmm.
If it was let's go back, do it earlier, get the same results, then yeah, absolutely, of course.
That's exactly the kind of answer I was anticipating. That's exactly what everyone says. It's like, yeah, 100%, like the results have been great. However, if I weren't in shit streets, I wouldn't have actually kind of gone all in. I'd have probably been like, yeah, it's a nice to have. Like Sean's there, he can help. But like I said, the situation you were in required you to kind of go all in. So yeah, thanks for sharing. Appreciate that. Obviously we were speaking for 9 months, back and forth, voice notes, messages on Instagram. Like you said, constantly just checking in. I remember like it was yesterday. I remember being sat outside of the gym and leaving you a couple of voice notes. And you were actually talking about another offer, weren't you? A different offer. So what was it then for you that made you decide to finally kind of pull the trigger? Like what happened? You took me through that.
I think it was just a culmination of our conversations. I went and rewatched your VSL, and it's interesting. Quite often, I use, when you get inspired by something, sometimes it brings a tear to your eye.
Mm,
I kind of take that as something that's kind of deeply important to the individual. And there was a certain point in your VSL that I had that kind of upwelling of emotion, had a bit of a tear come. And whenever that kind of happens in my life, I use that as almost a guide for what the next step should be.
hmm
And it was actually in that moment. I'll take a look and let you know exactly what part of the VSL it was. But there was a certain part, and it was in that point in the VSL where I was like, okay, this is the next step, regardless if it doesn't work. I mean, you can always recoup finances, you can never recoup time. So that was the kind of decision making there.
Yeah.
Just seeing your results, seeing how successful your coaching business was. The other thing actually that really stood out to me was, do you mind me sharing the story about your nan? About the
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So um, hearing the story, kind of not even from Sean, but again from the other guy in the coaching space, Jeremy, about how Sean's grand came to him needing to find a way to pay her mortgage, and you, Sean, decided to take that on your own shoulders and to then also pay your grand's mortgage on top of all the other expenses and everything else you got going on. And to me, that's the measure of a man, to be honest. And when I heard that story, when I saw that, I just have so much respect for that. And then on top of everything else, then I was like, fuck it, this guy's he's a good guy. Let's run it.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you. You've probably never seen me post about that, not on socials, not on stories. I shared it with my own coach, and of course, I share it with my clients. And yeah, I appreciate you asking for permission there. And I guess the reason I don't really share that is because there's so many things that I do in my personal life, and maybe I need to get better at sharing, right? We're coaches, we're not perfect. We're humans, we're not perfect. But there's something inside of me that just tells me, well, of course that's what I did because my nan needed me. Of course I helped her out because that's what you do as a man. Like that's what you do for the people you love. And my nan is my nan out of all of my family members is the one person who's always kind of been there for me. When I needed support, when I bought my first car, when I needed finances, she's always been there and always kind of, you know, came up trumps, which is why I felt required to reciprocate. So yeah, appreciate you sharing that and thank you. So let's kind of get back to your experience inside of the program. You seen the video, you decided, okay, this is what I want to do. You obviously knew a little bit more about me personally and the type of person I am. And then you decided to kind of, yeah, wipe the bank account out and dive on in. So what were your kind of initial thoughts or feelings during your kind of first few weeks inside of the program?
Initial thoughts and feelings were, without kind of sounding corny, but that you were kind of there for me was the kind of overarching feeling, which I've invested in other programs and mentorships before, but it's never been, I guess, a coaching program, and especially not where the head coach or the business founder has actually been. You, I mean, you were in my DMs, whether it was voice note, whether it was messages, maybe every day,
Mhm.
like that for the first, what, 2, 3, 4 weeks, where you were remembering, I know you've got multiple clients, but you're remembering what calls I had coming up, how many I'd closed, what was the next step, how many, what my outreaches were for next week, what my plans were moving forward. It was all dialed in for you. And I know I'm obviously not the only client in your program, but it felt like I could have been because I was getting that one to one all the time. And that was, I told you on our sales call, that's what I was hoping for signing up is that one to one access to you. When really the value for me was almost outsourcing my decision making to you, to someone who is way further down the line, far greater results in terms of building a big sustainable business, closing coaching clients, having it systemized. Um, and it just meant that I could literally get on my phone. I've got this sales call coming up with this person. This is what they've told me. How would you respond to this?
Mhm.
2 minute voice note, and that's all it took to close multiple clients. Each one different set of circumstances, not necessarily the action I would have taken, not necessarily what I would have said to them, but because I had access to you, you then passed that information to me, and I closed the clients. And what was it, the first week that I paid for the program itself, or something like that, first 10 days?
Yeah. Yeah. First, I think it was less than 2 weeks. You made the investment back for the whole program.
Yeah, exactly, 6 months.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And thank you for, again, kind of going into so much detail then. And the reason why I'm saying thank you is because I think there are many good coaches out there that run good coaching programs that are very successful. But I think the difference from going from good to great is listening specifically to what your client needs and then giving them exactly that, which sounds really simple and really straightforward. And of course, there may well be people that are listening to this and think, well, obviously that's what you do. But you'll be surprised, which you've just mentioned, how many coaches out there aren't doing exactly that. And for me, I have a gentleman, Cully, as well, who I recorded a video testimonial with not so long ago, and he said the same. He was like that one-to-one access that you were constantly checking in, you knew kind of what clients we had coming in and whatnot. And I just feel that's a standard that I've set for myself, and I am going to have to figure out how to make this scalable, so that I can continue that level of service. But I feel and maybe you can relate to this, maybe not, but I feel we have a 75% renewal rate inside of the program. And I have a belief that the reason why is because they hire me for the solution, but they stay with me for the service. And I don't really think, personal opinion, I did anything for you, special to you, that I wouldn't do for every other client inside of the program. Um, so yeah, thanks for sharing that. So why don't we kind of touch on to the results? Obviously, you mentioned first couple of weeks you made the investment back, which is great. So yeah, why don't we talk about kind of milestones, results that you've got from the program. Let's talk pounds and pence, dollars and cents.
So I think first month in the program, I did 10K, something like that. And then carried that. Well, actually, the first month was about 12.5K. Next month was about 7.5K. So first 2 months was about 20K pounds.
Slow down, slow down. Say that again. First month, what was that?
First month was about 12.5K. This is contracted. I think cash collected was about 10K.
Nice.
And then second month was about 7.5K there, thereabouts. So overall, first 8 weeks of the program, I did about 20 grand pounds.
Nice, man. That's fucking awesome.
Literally from, oh, worth mentioning as well, brand new offer, no big social media following, no YouTube channel, no paid ads, purely organic manual outreach. And that was it.
Yeah, man. That's awesome. And I sincerely mean this, but I have the belief that anyone can do what we've done. You know, I'm nobody special. I'm a lad from a council estate with no university degree. But everything that we've provided for you and for every other client, the framework, the tools, they're there. The access to me is there. You know, people just need to do the work. And we'll talk more about this very shortly, but I feel just holding the clients to higher standards, holding them accountable for the things that they say are important to them, and helping them to actually follow through on it. That's half the battle. It really is kind of half the battle. So 20K in the first 2 months. Nice. Without paid ads, with a new offer. Yeah, absolutely love it. What would you say kind of, yeah, how is the program? Let's just step aside from the business for a moment. How has it impacted your personal life? What's it maybe allowed you to do that perhaps you weren't able to do previously?
Yeah, couple of things, and honestly, it was stuff I actually wasn't even aware of within myself before joining the program. Which, I mean, obviously, that's why you do programs to learn stuff you don't know. But I hadn't realized how much I tried to lay out the full path ahead of me and actually know, A to Z what I'm going to do in order to get the result.
Mm.
Whereas what we often spoke about, and something that I still repeat to myself, maybe daily, is don't try and solve problems you don't have yet. So don't try and figure out how to make your offer scalable if you don't have any clients. Don't figure out how you're going to run paid ads if you can't even be consistent in your organic outreach. All these different things. I was trying to go way down the line and have it all laid out perfectly, which again, another form of self sabotage is stopping you from taking action in the here and now because you're trying to figure out 4 weeks' time, 12 weeks' time. So just take action now, figure out as you go.
Yeah.
That was a huge one. Another one is just inside the program, you also find that there's mental frameworks and tools to kind of overcome what you call in the program these cognitive distortions. That for me was another big one. Um, Again, unless you're aware of it, unless you've actually been through the program, these cognitive distortions are basically unhelpful or not constructive patterns of thought. They're going to exist within you kind of subconsciously.
Mm.
And until you actually do the work, go through Sean's program and actually bring those to the surface, they're going to be ruling your life, ruling your decision making. So some of the ones that I had going on were quite often I would catastrophize. So I would really worry about, letting people down. What if it doesn't go well? What if I lose the business? What if my ad account gets just pointless waste of energy and waste of time that I could be putting into productive activities. So that was the other one, just understanding. Obviously, that's one that I've shared, but there's multiple cognitive distortions. Everybody's different. But those two, solving problems that hadn't arisen yet, and also dealing with my cognitive distortions, makes for a much more peaceful and fluid journey in entrepreneurship.
Mm.
Um, Also, just to add further, what you're learning or what I learn, what anyone learns as they go along, you can share with others. So I've shared quite a lot of Sean's program with my partner, my girlfriend, and then she's benefited from that. Our relationships improved from that. So it's not just business focused, it's not even just self focused. It's the people all around you. They're all going to benefit from you dealing with your self sabotaging behaviors. So that's what I would say.
Love that, man. I absolutely love that. It's I'm going to touch on the need for control and then the cognitive distortions. Need for control, obviously, is exactly what you just mentioned. It's kind of needing to know. You look at success like a staircase, and it's as if you need to know kind of what's on every single step. And if you don't know what's on step 20, 30, 40, then you're not going to take step one. And that keeps so many people stuck. There's so many. I knew exactly what you were going to say, what you keep repeating to yourself. Don't try and solve problems you haven't got yet. I remember sharing that with you, and it's just stuck with you. And I think that's a helpful frame, right? It's like understanding what you're doing in that moment, recognizing it, which is always the first step, and then doing something about it, you know? Yeah, I see that happen so often. And it's unfortunate, but it's just the brain trying to protect us, trying to keep us safe, trying to kind of help us avoid any potential threats. And then, of course, the cognitive distortions. Absolutely love that you shared it with your partner. I think as well, these are things that, you can't unlearn in the sense of, yeah, you can't you can't really kind of ever forget about cognitive distortions. And the reason why I say that is because once you're aware of it, you then find yourself constantly picking it up. You'll see someone like on the television, oh, they're catastrophizing. You'll see your partner, oh, she's mind reading. You'll see, you'll be on a call and you'll see somebody else, which is like, oh, that's all or nothing thinking. And this is why I'm so passionate about this because what I try and do is just equip people in their personal life so that they can show up better in their business. That's kind of the hybrid approach. It's not just business coaching, it's not just life coaching. It's like, let's bring them both together because behind every business owner is a person. So yeah, thanks for sharing all of that and the way you articulated the cognitive distortions. Start getting a little worried you were going to be after my job there. But no, it's great to see that these things have, landed with you and of course stuck with you. And yeah, please continue to share them with, the people that you love, the people that you care about. Yeah, appreciate that. So we've kind of touched on this, but I'll ask it anyway. Was there a particular kind of moments during the program where you were kind of everything clicked and you're like, yeah, I'm in the right place. Yeah, this is really fucking helpful.
So what was it? We did our roadmap vision call. I signed up on a Friday night and we had it on the Monday. During that process, we had to decide on three actions that I was going to take that week. And one of the actions was finishing and posting my VSL. And I did that, finished it, posted it, immediately had someone book in, and then closed them. And that was for the same price as the program itself, or near enough.
Yeah.
So it was in that moment where, without having gone through that roadmap vision call and all that stuff, I would probably have finished the BSL. I would probably have posted it, but it wouldn't have been at that exact time for the individual to see it at that time to then go and close him.
Mm.
Because I closed him for my next client. She was asking, "Are you working with anyone else?" Oh yeah, I'm working with this guy. The next client was on across the door, and it wasn't something that maybe it came from the program, maybe that came from Sean, but could have come from somewhere else. It's like, no, Sean told me to do that. I did it, and I got paid. So let's just keep listening to Sean and let's carry on in the program.
Mm.
And it was exciting.
I remember the voice note you sent me. I think well, there's some things that we don't need to share on videos like this, but you were very pleased, and I remember you being very appreciative, and you showed a lot of gratitude in those voice notes, and you said exactly what you said. You said, "No, Sean, like." Because I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think I said something like you did the work, take credit. And you were like, no, Sean, like you told me to do this. This is exactly what we discussed. Like I can absolutely kind of associate this result to joining your program. And that meant a lot. It told me a lot about you, your character. But yeah, I was delighted for you because like I said to you earlier on the call, most of the time people know what they need to be doing. Problem is they don't know why they can't bring themselves to do it. And sometimes we just need to be held to higher standards. But yeah, I remember that yeah, very well. So yeah, one or two more questions, and then I'll let you be. I'm not really sure what time it is there in Thailand, but yeah, why don't you kind of share with me and anyone who's watching kind of what does make this program kind of different than other coaching programs you've done?
I would say just by the very word coaching, to be honest. A lot of I would maybe say all of the programs that I've done previously is an online course, a community. Sure, maybe there's, a coach you can contact, but it's not anything like the level of one-to-one, the level of personalization, the voice notes, even hopping on calls that really are not even part of the program, but you were still, down, if you need half an hour, let's jump on, let's hash it out, jump on a voice call. I've never been in a program like that before. Um, I would say that was really the main thing. The community's been great as well. You mentioned Cooley, like I was just chatting to Cooley yesterday, chatting to Megan, to Jake. There's a lot of good people in there who are all pursuing the same goals, and even that, just jumping on the Wins channel, sharing another paid in full or close, or even just something small. Sharing a new behavior that previously would have been something you weren't doing or whatever.
Yeah.
Very, very supportive, constructive community, which is testament to yourself as well, Sean. That's something you've created. The client success coaches, BB has been fantastic. She's always available whenever I need her. Jump on calls, talk through stuff, work through, some of the tools in the program. That's been fantastic. Um, yeah, I would say, yeah, the culmination of all of those elements is definitely what sets it apart.
Appreciate it, man. Means a lot. And a special mention to BB as well, because
Yeah,
I wouldn't be able to have the success that I've been able to have if it wasn't for her. So thank you for mentioning her. Appreciate it. And yeah, I think I don't mind sharing this. I know this is going to go out, and I think this is me being me. Every now and then I have to kind of pinch myself, because of the quality of people that we have inside of the program. You just mentioned a handful of people, and every single one of them are brilliant people, great coaches, and they're changing the world. And like you just said, it's a testament to me. And I don't know, maybe this is something that, yeah, a lot of coaches struggle with, but I think we forget the impact that we're actually having on the world, because it's just our day to day. It's just, of course, yeah, we've helped a client. Of course, we've helped someone start, grow, and scale their business. Of course, I've helped someone with a self-sabotage because it's just what I do. But it was nice hearing you share those names. I was like, wow, there's some fucking great people, yourself included. So I appreciate that. Thanks for bringing my awareness to it. Yeah, we're certainly building something special. That's for sure. That being said, the final question I have really for you is you've just mentioned a handful of coaches that are inside of the program. What about people who aren't inside of the program? What sort of words or advice would you have for anybody who is on the fence about jumping on a call or signing up to start working with us?
What I would say to them is if they're on the fence, then there's a part of them that knows. So, what is it that's keeping you from taking that action? Is it a fear that you're not going to get the results that you need? And just as someone who's inside the program, that absolutely should not be a fear. All you have to do is listen to Sean, do what he tells you, follow the program, complete the tools. Pretty much guaranteed you'll get the results. Is it a fear of losing money? If that's the fear, you can always get more money. As I said earlier, you can never get more time. So how much longer are you going to stay stuck on that fence? How sore is your ass going to get on that fence? If you're going to wait a year, it's not just that year's worth of time. You have to remember the compounding effect of time as well. That's 1 year of results where 10 years down the line, life is going to be unrecognizably different. Had you not just put off that extra time? So I would say bare minimum. If you're afraid of jumping on a call with Sean, then maybe entrepreneurship maybe isn't for you. Maybe this isn't the right path for you because bare minimum, get on a call, speak to the man, form a relationship, and just go on your intuition. You feel that Sean is someone who can help you. Look at his other client testimonials, look at the highlights on his stories, look at his own results personally. There's really no doubt that he can help you, and it's just whether you decide to get out of your own way or not. And right now, you're at a junction in the road. There's success on one side, there's the same shit you've done for years on the other side, and you just have to decide what version of yourself do you want there to exist in your life. That's what I would say.
Couldn't have said it any better myself. Jamie, it's been an absolute pleasure, and here's to more success. Thank you for your time today.
Okay, you brother. Have a
Cheers.
great one.